Monica Seles, U.S. citizen now. Sarasota is where she calls home. She was born near the Hungarian border.
See her 98 record there. Didn't start playing until Lipton. You could see she's 4-0 this year. She did not play. Monica didn't play a tournament before the Australian Open. She kind of goes back and forth on that. Sometimes she comes down to play Sydney. She hasn't been down here in 2 years. Rather 3 years, since 96 when she won it.
Seles, Yugoslavian born in those days. Steffi Graf from Germany, of course. She was born in Brühl, ranked number 8. Of course, she's been the number 1 player for so long now, 29 years older. For tennis, a veteran.
Just in, bringing up break point. It's worth repeating to remember that Monica Seles is undefeated at this tournament. 32 straight wins, 4 straight titles. Hasn't played every year, of course. Won in 91, 2, 3, and then again in 96.
Got to the final of the Open at the end of 95, and she won here. That was the only slam that she won after the stabbing of 93. Graf 1, Seles 9. Let's check in here now, center court. Graf 1, game to love. With a break, 15-11 this game.
There's no doubt, Cliff, that the umpire and the referee were exactly right. If you read the hindrance rule, it was an involuntary hindrance. You get a let, and then you get points taken away.
And she had been warned.
She had been warned. The thing that was tough is that beads have been coming out for years, and it was really the first time ever that a point had been taken away. So I think that's why the reaction from Venus was so emotional.
And the fiery Fred Stolle was at courtside last night watching it all. He's down there again, this time in the sun. Hi, Fred.
Hey, Cliff, it's a little warmer down here than it was last night, and this is a very much anticipated match, as you folks mentioned there. Really a tournament promoter's dream to have this as a quarterfinal, normally a final. Good friends, good competitors, and it's going to show in this match. I'm going to go with Steffi Graf, though, because the way she started off hitting the forehand, I think she's just a little bit fitter than Monica Seles. But the big thing here, it's hot, and if this gets to 1 set apiece, I think that WTA rule where they allow them a 10-minute break will come in.
Game point, Graf. One-handed attempt for the second time. That one doesn't work, and Graf wins the game. It's 2 games to love with the break in the first set, best of 3 quarterfinal of the women's singles. It's National Hockey Night on ESPN2 Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern when the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim face off against the Colorado Avalanche. Don't miss the action. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, Go.com.
And that point, Cliff, more than any point, really shows you the advantage of the mobility of Steffi Graf versus Monica Seles. That one Graf, that point.
That just shows you how fit she is, really. Always been in great physical shape, though, Graf.
Yeah, I think I remember, Fred, her being maybe 1 pound overweight in the 15 years that she's played. I mean, it's been incredible how consistent she's been with her fitness, with her desire, determination, and in recent years, and comebacks from injuries.
Well, let's talk about that, Pam. I mean, let's go into a little bit of detail about her injuries, because for a lot of last year, she didn't even play.
Well, there was knee surgery in French Open of 97, and that kept her out for 9 months.
But that's how much she dominated before that.
That's right, from 87 to 96. Of course, in 87 took over the #1 spot from Navratilova and hung on to it, except for when Seles had it in the early 90s. And then, of course, she continued her domination, except for a little bit of a slump when Sanchez Vicario moved up to the top spot. one of the big controversies was people wondering how many more titles Graf won because of the Seles absence.
Well, Seles was beginning to enjoy that rivalry and was having more success, actually, at the time that she was stabbed.
Well, it was to me, one of the saddest things ever in sports to have that happen and to have a #1 player in the world for 2.5 years out.
You know, I was thinking about that this morning. I think you're right. Maybe the saddest thing in all of sports, I was considering maybe the Munich Olympics disaster or something up there with it.
No, yeah, that's actually bigger. Certainly in tennis. That's before the Hamburg incident, and then after. Just the 1 Grand Slam title 3 years ago here. Been through to 2 U.S. Open finals, losing to her opponent today, both times, in tough matches. And then, of course, Cliff, the very brave performance last year at the French Open when Seles, 10 days after her father had passed away, her coach, Karoli Seles, came to the French Open, wasn't even sure how she'd play, got through to the finals before losing to Sanchez Vicario.
One of the things the German contingent were worried about here was Steffi Graf's forehand, whether it would be consistent enough. It has started out on fire. On the other side of the coin, I think something that will bother Seles is the slice backhand, because a lot of the younger players, now the slice backhand from Graf, a lot of the younger players don't have that shot. They hit with a lot of topspin and power.
Well, there's one of the unforced errors on the forehand side, Fred, that you were mentioning. But having watched Graf play in Sydney before here and performing well, losing to Davenport, but beating the Williams sisters, and then so far here, the forehand has been pretty consistent. And the other day against Mary Jo Fernandez, really stepping it up at 4-all in the third.
And didn't Steffi have also, like, hand surgery or something after the U.S. Open this year?
Oh, she had wrist surgery. She's had the knee. She's had back problems. I think she's had a slight little shoulder problem. I mean, she's had, some foot problems. Just about anything. And that's amazing, because look how fit she is.
Deuce.
Seles needs this game. And the other thing that's interesting and a little controversial about Graf, Steffi Graf, is that maybe she's actually overtrained through the years, that she's just been out on the practice court and just been relentless. And in the late 20s now, she needs to really step back and not train as much and realize that her body is fragile.
Seles holds on. Steffi Graf, a couple of errors in that game, but she has the break. 2-1. Graf leads.
And Cliff, in watching Davenport play Graf just a couple of weeks ago in Sydney, after this point, exactly what Lindsay said. She served well. She mixed it up. Davenport hits hard enough to get to the Graf backhand, as does Monica Seles. But right now, Davenport is moving better, covering more balls than Monica Seles.
30-love Graf in this game. That's on the line, 30-15. We've been talking a lot about Steffi Graf and her fitness and her injuries. Give us an injury and fitness update on Monica Seles, panel.
Well, midway through last year, she was working with Gavin Hopper, and her fitness really picked up. But you got to remember, in March at Lipton, after months of being home with her dad, who was really sick, she came out on the tour not fit at all. So made great progress, and now I think is maybe a little step off her best of last year, but still much fitter than she was at Lipton when she lost to Kornikova.
That one says game point Graf. She has a break in this first set, 2-1. She broke in the first serve game of Seles. Ace from Graf, and it is 3-1 Graf in the first set. This is best of 3. The winner will be in the last 4 here in Melbourne. Sports Century, a weekly event that will count down the top 50 athletes of the past century. Continue Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. This week, show 49, O.J. Simpson. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. 3-1 Graf.
Is that not the series of shows, Cliff, where our good friend Rod Laver had his stroke during that interview?
Yeah, matter of fact, Fred, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'd like to send him our regards from down under, Rocket. You're probably not this time of the night watching, but I know you'll be watching it during the week.
Long there with the forehand. Actually hit with Rocket about 6-7 weeks ago, right after got married, stopped by, and he was hitting tennis balls at Mission Hills with Tommy Tucker and did 2-on-1s. Rocket was on the one side for about 45 minutes straight.
Uh-oh, Fred, there it goes. We thought we were going to be able to take it, but I guess not.
No chance. Hitting the ball beautifully, and as is Steffi Graf with a 3-1 lead.
There's no more deeply loved man in sports than Rod Laver. Great to hear that he's back on the court. 15-30.
Well, Heidi Graf has watched a lot of tennis matches. She's down here with Steffi, and on the other side, Monica Seles is here without her mom, Esther, staying home and wasn't feeling great a few weeks ago. Hope she's better.
Sweet.
And that, Cliff and Fred, is the key for Monica Seles. That whole point, she was camped out right along the baseline, and Graf was pushed back. In order for Seles to win this match, this is what's going to have to happen for Monica.
Flat one down the middle, and then she looked up at the chair ump to say, are you sure that hit the net?
They have those little machines, little wire, so it makes a little noise. Chair umpire calls it. You see there's no net cord judge there anymore.
That one goes wide, and Seles holds on. 3-2, Graf in the first set. It's obviously the right play to get her on the defensive. It's not that easy to do, though, unless you have the power of somebody like Lindsay Davenport.
Or Steffi Graf, who just served her second ace.
Lindsay's given away a lot of trade secrets there. A couple of coaches can take down a few notes on that.
Very generous, our number one.
Yeah.
Well, you know you have to go for your second serve against Monica Seles, so I really think it's not a bad play to step up the second serve, and you're going to hit a few doubles. You can't be too worried about that.
The first. But she's got 3 of those.
Well, and that's twice now that the ball's gone right up the tee, and Monica, until Steffi goes wide, Heinz Gunhart, Steffi's coach.
He's been with her a long time.
I think Monica's got to take one step closer to that center tee. There's Heidi Graf as well. Gee. A lot of great serves in this game. It's always been one of Steffi Graf's favorite, the one out wide on the ad side. A lot of righties don't particularly care for that over the high part of the net.
40-30.
That particular shot bounced up very high. Because it was a miss-hit return. Graf couldn't get any power on it up high on that backhand side. Just not enough on it. Allowed Seles to hit the passing shot.
Also, if you play Steffi Graf, you know that she loves to go back cross-court with so many of her slice backhands, whether they're approaches or volleys.
Oh, boy, that's got that one nice and early. You've seen that so many times from her, and it's so difficult to say which way she's going, isn't it, to anticipate?
Well, that's the 5th backhand winner, and it's another one of the discussed things. Which side of Seles is tougher? Is it the backhand, or is it the forehand, or are they really quite even? Does it depend on the day?
That's a beautiful shot. Was that Steffi saying something, Fred?
Yes, that was just Steffi saying, come on. They were both very eager in this confrontation today. Both girls have really mixed their serve up well.
I'll tell you, Steffi Graf has shown more emotion, more animation, more excitement.
More enjoyment, maybe.
In the last 6 months than ever.
That's nice to see, because I always felt that for her this was too much of a job.
Yeah, too dour. I mean, heck, you win 21 Grand Slam singles titles. Enjoy it a little more. But you know, Cliff, as the game gets back into the great champions, no matter what, it's never, never enough. Whether we're talking Rocket Laver or Monica Seles, Steffi Graf, it just doesn't matter. Martina Navratilova, she won 9 Wimbledon. She was so depressed she lost the 10th to Conchita Martinez in the finals.
That one goes long, or wide rather. She hit the one-hander and then tries the two-hander. Boy, that's true. This game is like no other game in the world, though. You don't have any partners in there. You've got no teammates. You're on your own, and you have to do it day in and day out.
It was the 5th forehand error from Seles, only 2 on the backhand side. So today the backhand's working better, and that may be the steadier side.
Game point, Graf. And Graf holds on with the lead here, 4-2 in the first set. Here is Monica on Steffi.
Steffi's such a great competitor, and you know that she's not going to give you one single ball or an ounce of anything, so you'll have to fight for it. But I go in with the same mental attitude that she'll have to fight for every ball against me also. So we played some great matches, and whenever I play Steffi, I mean, it's a great match, but I really also enjoy playing the match, too.
15 love in this game to Seles, trailing 2-4 first set.
Talked to Monica the other day, and it was so funny because the crowd above, you could hear the music there and the fans going nuts. That's the Australian Open.
Boy, that's a very good volley.
Well. That's the first today, the serve and volley.
And what's the technique here, Fred?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Monica played doubles here with Jana Novotná. I watched their loss the other day, and Monica served and stayed back about 90% of the time.
Oh, forehand down the line. Seles doesn't like the call. No overrule, 30-15.
Yep, good call.
Again, was Graf annoyed at the return. The return was rather short. So she'd run round at the hit, trying to get over to the forehand.
Yeah, Graf's good at that, getting annoyed with herself.
Yeah.
Very stubborn, very impatient.
Perfectionist.
Seles holds on at 4-3. They'll change ends now. Graf will serve and we come back. She's got the break in the first set. There has been only one break. They're playing for a place in the last 4 Australian Open Women's
Another backhand winner from Seles. Needs the break back.
That's wide.
And Fred, that's the shot you were talking about, that slice.
Sliced, yeah. And Pam, a question I want to ask you, you probably would know, but Seles is using a much bigger racket than Graf. She uses the oversized. Is that the oversized racket she has? Because most of the girls seem to use that mid-size. She has the big bomber.
And the long one.
Yeah.
And it's a fairly light one, strung extremely tightly.
Graf has got just a regular mid-size.
And hers is like a hammer, pretty heavy. Another backhand winner. Seles really attacking on that point and has 2 break points. You can see there, forehand winners, and there's her favorite shot, but looks like the backhand, and 3 net point one. That's a good number to keep an eye on. Important for Seles to shorten up some of the points and take advantage of her big ground strokes.
15-40. Guys, we're talking about rackets just now. Just about everybody's talking titanium. But you don't see many of them here on the tour, if any. Double fault from Graf, and Seles gets her first break, and we are even at 4 games all in the first set. Reaction, Fred or Pam? What happened there?
Well, this is a real match now. This is the first time that Graf has really tightened up on that second serve, particularly that last one halfway down the net. So often we have these matchups and they don't sort of come up to expectations. I think this one certainly will.
Yeah, these two rarely disappoint you.
That's her second double fault, Graf, when she double faulted for the game.
The first lead Seles has had in the match. She dropped her opening service game to love and has been looking to get that break back ever since. Now at 4-all, 15-love. It's a little lead, but it's a lead.
Seles is looking for call. No way.
Laura Cicciarelli in the chair.
Yeah, that one's on the far side from Cicciarelli, but I think it's skidded off the line pretty good.
I was just thinking how Seles on the second serve, being a lefty, has a slight edge in getting the second serve to the Graf backhand. Unable to do it there. Graf got jammed, but got a break with a let cord.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Totally wrong-footing Graf, who is looking, what, at the serve line? Call, Fred?
Yes, she thought the serve was long, Cliff. But again, the electronic machine there is to call that.
Wow, I don't know if Monica Seles' approach should go back cross-court to the Graf forehand. Make her come up with a backhand pass, showing you on the low one that perhaps Monica's just so much more comfortable going back cross-court over the low part of the net. Look how low she is to hit that one.
So Graf gets the break. They traded breaks in this little outing. We're going to take another break now, and when we come back, Steffi Graf will serve for the first set.